All right, we're live. Morning. How are all you beautiful people doing out there? How are you? Maybe you don't like being called beautiful. How are all you handsome people doing out there? How do I do it? Do I say handsome for guys and I say beautiful for girls? Or could a girl be handsome? I don't know. Do we have any handsome women out there and beautiful guys? I think we might. I think there's a gradient. Anyway, welcome to episode 63. How do you do the thing? How do you do? How do you do the thing? I already see that we got some lactic acid building up in the comments. We're getting a nice workout going. Welcome to the stage, fellas. Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to talk about how to do the damn thing. And what I mean by that is we're going to talk about exercise execution today. Some cool things that I've learned over the years that you might want to consider when you are exercising your fitness. So as we're jumping on, let me know where you're located. Throw me a flex emoji. Let's get some participation going from Shred Nation. Let everybody know where we at. The School of Shred. This is the online health academy. This is the show that's designed to help you shred your old and make better your new, people. We don't play games here. We're serious about our health and wellness. And we're about to get into episode 63. So the show's here every day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And then these shows are repurposed for the podcast app on iTunes. Please do a review. And Spotify. And tomorrow we have a Q&A. So please ask any questions that you guys have today. Ask any questions. We will be providing answers tomorrow. But with that, let's get into it. How do you do the thing? So when I started personal training, a lot of the courses I did, well, basically every course that I did, talked a lot about the what. The what being, what muscle fibers are we training? You have 3 different muscle fiber types. You have the white fast twitch, which are called the type 2X. I did a course that also called them the type 2B. You have the red fast twitch fibers, which are kind of an intermediate fiber. That's a lot of what you train when you do hypertrophy, like that 8 to 12 rep range. Those guys are called the type 2A. And then you have the slow twitch muscle fibers, which are your endurance muscle fibers. Those guys are the type 1, type 1A. So, I learned a lot about that stuff. And that was, where I was really looking when I got into training. I was like, oh, what's the best way to train? How do you get hypertrophy from a muscle? Do you have to train like the low reps, 1 to 5, or do you need to train higher middle range reps like 10 to 15? Or do you need to train like 20, 25, 30? And what I didn't realize I was missing all of those years, and this happens to a lot of trainers out there, is that we don't focus on how. We focus on the what. How many reps, What's the rep scheme? What's the rest breaks? We don't try to really master execution, though. And it was only when I did a course a couple years back that I was humbled, and I realized that I could do better. I could do better for my clients. I could do better for myself, as opposed to just worrying about looking up scientific articles of like, what's the best rep range? I realized that those scientific studies often they don't control enough variables, and they don't hold a lot of weight. They're built on sand because they don't know how to calculate for torque. They don't control the variables of rep tempo. And they also don't calculate the fact that everybody has different individual mechanics. So somebody with a really large rib cage and short arms on a bench press test that you want to study is going to have a much different result than somebody with a shallow rib cage or a smaller rib cage, longer arms, trying to touch their chest, to touch the bar of their chest. And so what happens is we have 2 different mechanical realities going on there. We got somebody with a big rib cage, their range of motion, they might be pulling in to this range in the shoulder, where they're pulling down and they're nice and safe here at the side like this, looking at the angle of the shoulder. And then somebody with long arms, more lanky and a shorter rib cage, might have to really get down there and violate if we're going to be talking about the sound bite of touch the bar to your chest. One person might be hurting their shoulder health long term. The other person might not be, based off of their structure, their God-given structure. Structure dictates function. Okay, we got it. And, we can change that by how we do things. So how you do something is more important than what. It's only after you know how to do something that you can worry about the what. If you're going to worry about rep ranges, you might want to consider looking at execution first. And so there's a couple things that I want to give you guys a couple nuggets here that you can take into your exercise training today just to try out. Number one is going to be controlling inertial forces and going slow controlled motion. A lot of people like to refer to this as time under tension. You can call it whatever you want. I like to consider it going slow enough to be able to actually execute the muscles that you want to train. There's something that I like to use. It's called the goal of this exercise. It's kind of a thought process that I got from RTS. And it's knowing what is the purpose of the goal that what's the goal and what's the purpose of the exercise that you're doing. So if you're doing a press, I like to talk about presses a lot because I know there's a lot of guys that listen to this show. You're press friendly. Everyone wants a big chest. But if you're doing presses, what's the goal of the press? Are you trying to make the press a better press? Or are you trying to make certain muscles grow because of that stimulus? Well, then you want to go slow enough that you can actually feel a sensation in there. And a big problem that I've had in the past with my own exercise, not just coaching people, so I'll speak of my own personal experience here for a second. Big problem I've had is not knowing if it's all about load or if it's about sensation in the muscle. I'm here to tell you, people, it's about sensation in the muscle if you want the muscle to respond and grow. If you want to get more weight on the bar, external forces, and your mindset is more of a sport type lifting thing, like you're considering you're lifting like powerlifting, well, then that's its own goal. But let's not forget that people who want to gain muscle and get healthy muscle tissue, because muscle tissue increases health overall. They might want to be looking into stimulating muscle tissue. And the way that you stimulate muscle tissue is get the brain involved. Okay, you need to become aware of that muscle. So by going slow, we can control a lot of things that are important with lifting, but it increases the how we're doing something. So go slow, think about the movement, be methodical, because it's about how you do the dang thing. It's only after you know how to do something that you can worry about the what. I'm going to give you guys an example here after I get a drink of coffee. Let me give you guys an example. If you go to the gym and you start working out and you just start loading the body, a great example would be like building a house on sand. So as the storms of life come, which we could call the workouts or life, getting groceries to your car, taking that big box out of the Costco cart and loading it in your car, that's exercise, people. That's a storm of force going through your body, okay? So as those storms of life come and you have this house that's built on sand, you might have nice siding on the outside. You might start doing roof work. You might have all these rooms in this house looking really good. Your plumbing is good. You have slowly just upgraded, right? Maybe you bought a fixer-upper, which is kind of what you can consider your body if you're on your journey right now. I know my body was a fixer-upper when I first started lifting. I bought a fixer-upper at a good price. It was at a fair price. But you start upgrading. And so over the years, you have beautiful roof. Outside looks great. You got some good landscaping. But as the storms of life come and all of the workouts start to build up and the water starts to seep into that sand, your house isn't built on a strong foundation. And so it starts to wither. And the withering could be seen as orthopedic structures going. Over the years, things might start to fall apart. Walls might start to cave in. We could see that as orthopedic structures. You start to wear down the contact surfaces, these things called hyaline cartilages. One of the courses I did talked about how they are, these hyaline cartilages on the end of your joints are said to be 8 times slicker than 2 ice cubes together. That's pretty slick. It's anti-friction material that allows your joints to glide and slide, okay, with no pain. There's no nerve innervations on them. But as the storms of life come and forces that are not methodically put through your body, if you're not careful and you're not worried about the how, you're just worried about the what, which is loading. You're only worried about rep ranges and just getting as much weight up because you think that's going to cause hypertrophy and to get the body you desire. You start to wear down those hyaline cartilages because those forces start slamming the joints around. Oh, by the way, life also does this. You're not thinking about how your quadriceps are contracting when you're on a nice hike and you got that steep gradient you're walking down. You're not thinking about how each individual muscle's firing when you go to pick up that box and put it in your car from, Costco or whatever. You're just doing it. You're just doing it. You're not worried about that. So your exercise is a time to actually pop the hood on the car and change individual components, not just go race the car one more time. Now, if that's your goal, if you just want to race the car, that's fine. But the way that I like to train people is this way. Okay. And so this is the thought process that I'm trying to instill in you, because I don't think this is looked at enough, is the how. So anyway, you start to wear down these cartilages. It creates what's called crepitus. You get some of that joint popping and cracking, and you say, oh, that's fine. I don't feel any pain. Well, you don't feel any pain right now. But as more storms of life come to this nice structure that's built on sand because your execution isn't correct, and it's not, I shouldn't say not correct. You're not paying attention to it as much. You're more worried about the how, right? You're more worried about the externals of the house, not what the house is built on. As these storms come, you start to wear down these joints. You get clicking, cracking, popping. You don't have any pain yet because it's not bone-on-bone arthritis. But at the point that it becomes bone-on-bone arthritis, you have extreme pain every day of your life. You have inflammation in that joint, and then you have to look at a replacement down the road. Is that what you want from your exercise? I don't think so. I don't think so. So it would behoove us and behoove you, and I implore you, to start thinking about how are you putting forces through your body. Now, we got to keep it in perspective. I am down for exercise on any level. At some level, get out and go, even if it is going to mess you up a little bit, whatever. I got people in jiu-jitsu that I meet that they don't exercise outside of there. They use jiu-jitsu as a means of getting in shape. I don't think that's the best way to do it. I think that's like taking your car to the destruction derby when you want to fix it up. But jiu-jitsu is amazing. It's amazing. I think 100% of the people in this world should do it, except for the cruel, mean-hearted people. I don't think they should learn how to fight. But on some level, it's like, if that's what they want to do, if that's the only activity somebody will participate in, then do it. If you just like CrossFit and that's the only way you'll work out, then do it. That's fine. But if you want to start peeling the layers back of the onion, we want to think about how do we do the thing. Not just the what, not just the rep scheme, not just how heavy we're going, not just the rest breaks and all the external stuff. This is all external stuff. It's like, what's the linear periodization? What's the time block I'm working out of? Am I working the white fast twitch fibers this phase of training, or am I working the slow twitch fibers? I guarantee you all this splitting hairs is just nice for your mind. You're never really going to know. It's nice to switch things up after you know the how, but if your house is built on sand, it's not going to last through the years and create a house that builds equity that you can live in for the rest of your life. You're going to have to do a lot of repair work down the line, and it could make you go broke. So what I want you to think about today as we finish episode 63 is, how do you do the thing? How do you do the exercises? Focus on how you execute them. Focus on the muscles that you're actually trying to train while you're doing it. Don't just go through the motions mindlessly. Don't just listen to music and tune out. You can tune out if you do cardio. You can listen to audiobooks. I like to do my learn and burn sessions, or take courses and pedal on the bike and watch videos. That's fine. That's the time to be distracted if you want to, because that's more of an external performance minded thing when you're doing cardio. But when you're exercising, at least for, say, the next month, be painfully aware of the pain that you're putting your muscles in, creating experience inside the muscles. And that is how you can take care of your orthopedic structures and build a foundation under a beautiful house. That beautiful house will take you time and money to invest in, right? You can't just move into a house. I mean, depending on your budget, you can't just move into a house and fix everything on day one. This happens over time. But you got to have a strong foundation. And the foundation is, how do you do the exercises? How do you execute them? Slow, controlled movement that's focused. You're not just pumping tons of reps. If you do that, you're falling into this external side of the house, which is just about the reps. You're not acknowledging how you're doing the thing. And that could be potentially really harmful on your orthopedic structures over time. It could lead to damages in passive tissues like connective tissues, tendons, the musculotendinous junction, the muscle attaches to the bone. A lot of times tearing muscles starts years before. So I was watching something recently in one of my continuing education programs. It was talking about how a guy stood up in class and his hamstring tore. And he was basically in a middle range hamstring position. Wasn't at length. Like, people think that a lot of times, if you take a muscle and you stretch it too hard, that's what causes muscle tears. Well, this guy was sitting down in a pretty easy hamstring position, pretty mid-range position, knee flexion, and hip flexion. So shortened around one joint, lengthened around the other, the hamstring was, and it tore. How does that happen? Well, it could have been damage from years and years and years of not focusing on the how. I don't know this particular gentleman, but I think we've all been there. We've all spent our time only worrying about the how. I know the what. I know I have. So execution is important. So look at it today. Look at the way that you're doing your exercises. Take care of your body. Think about investing long-term. Be long-term. Long-term thinking is what creates wealth, not just in finances, but also in health. So when you're learning how to do presses, or you're doing exercises, you're doing squats, you're doing whatever it is that you do for your exercise program that you find is best to reach your goals. When you're going over how to execute that action, you're investing in your long-term success. So don't just work out for the day. Think about where you're going to be in 10 years doing it. Long-term minded. If you have a short window, okay, of what you're thinking about, you might want to consider correcting that short window, because that's going to bleed into every area of your life. One of my favorite quotes is, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if everything you do is you're looking for shortcuts, you got to look at your mindset. So focus on the how. Then focus on the what. Work smarter, then work harder. Don't just work harder. You could go 180 degrees in the wrong direction and work really hard. But with that, that's episode 63. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Q&A Friday. Wear your Hawaiian shirts. We're going to get after it, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We got some good questions already, but I want more of them. So drop them in the comments wherever you're at. Drop them. Let me know. What's on your mind? What's on your heart? What do you want to know about? The School of Shred, we have 5 different modules. We have a spirit module that we train out of, which is like psychology class, a psychology course. And then you have the habitat, which is how to detox your environment. It's environmental health. Then you have the recovery side, recovery course, balancing the central nervous system and sleep quality and all that good stuff, everything that goes into recovery. And we have exercise and we have diet. That's the Shred curriculum. 5 different classes. So ask any questions on that, whether it's mindset, things that you can do inside your house to improve your environment and detox it, recovery, exercise, or diet. I'll see you guys tomorrow for episode 64. With that, I want you to stay strong and healthy in body. Stay relentless and energized in spirit. And stay determined in your pursuits today. That spells shred. Now go shred the day and get better in every way. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp Pacific time. Class dismissed.